So the first question is, what is the official deadline to enter data for the early learning assessment? So this is kind of a long answer because there are multiple dates to get to the end goal for the end of this school year. As you know, we are in the spring window currently, which opened on February 15th. The window ends on May 14th. We highly encourage you to use the KReady system. If you're on this webinar, most likely you are using it. If you're using the bridge form, we understand that, but we do encourage you to use the KReady system. And what we would like to recommend here is that although the assessment window ends on May 14th, that's the last day that teachers would kind of consider any evidence of student learning and demonstrating any of the skills, knowledges, and behaviors. We encourage the teachers to get their data entered in the KReady system by June 3rd. So that gives them a little bit of time after the window closes to really analyze any student work, observations, artifacts, conversations, and any other evidence that might be useful to determine a student's level in any of those SKBs. It gives them some time from May 14th through June 3rd. And then data managers will also be generating the learning progression score report. That is the report that data managers use to either give to the EMIS coordinator, or if you're the EMIS coordinator, you would use that report to enter into EMIS. Or if you're using the EIS system, you would use that data from the learning progression score report to enter the data into EMIS. And we want data managers to generate that report by June 28th. So we're giving people time here. We're trying to help you with a nice timeline at the end of the year so that you're not feeling rushed, but that you're getting things done in a timely manner. Because what will happen next is the KReady system is going to close on July 3rd. So after July 3rd, you will not be able to enter any data into the system, and you will not be able to generate any reports because the system will close and Johns Hopkins will perform some system maintenance, and they will archive the data from the 2018-2019 school year. And then on July 10th, the system will open for the next school year. Now, the two dates that you see and the next two bullets are for when the data has to be entered. So if you have preschool special education students, the data must be entered in EMIS by August 9th. If you have early childhood education grant funded children and you're entering that data into EAS, that data must be entered by June 30th. Okay, so any data for preschool special education or any data that goes into EMIS needs to be entered by August 9th. But please do not wait until the end of July or early August to get that learning progression report, because as I stated earlier, the system is going to close on July 3rd. Okay, so these dates are really here as recommendations. Please encourage your teachers to get the student data entered by June 3rd. Data managers, please try and get your learning progression score reports pulled from the system by June 28th and save those reports locally. Share them with whoever needs to have access to that data. And we'll talk about the data here in a couple more slides as well. This information is also on our webpage. And if you have any questions about that, we'll be happy to answer that. This is just another way to look at that. If you like a chart, kind of like a calendar type look, these are the dates that we are recommending. The really hard stop is July 3rd when the KReady system will close. The next question is, does the state mail out the test results for 2019? No, we do not mail out test results. At this time, all of the data is kept locally. So if you're using the KReady system, all of that data is housed in the KReady system. As I mentioned, it gets archived. And then if you are using the bridge form, that is an Excel form that you can save locally. So this is why we definitely recommend that you save your reports from KReady. You can save them locally. You can print them, and no, we are not sending them out. Another question came in was about when would parents receive these reports? This is really up to the local programs to determine what and when to share early learning assessment data with families. As you know, data managers have access to the learning progression score report, which is a class level report. Reports for individual students are actually housed in the teacher side of things. I did not prepare anything to share with that on here. If you have individual questions about that, please reach out to the help desk or contact us, and we'd be happy to walk you through some of that. The next question is, what do I do with the information in the reports? At minimum, you need to make sure that any required data for the preschool special education and the ECE funded children is given to the appropriate person locally to report that data in EMIS or EAS. That's at minimum. But some other things that you might consider or do locally is to actually analyze that data. You might do that at a program level. You might do that at a classroom level, or you may even do that at an individual student level. And as I mentioned, the data manager reports are different than what the teachers actually see, because teachers have more access to looking at the individual student level and looking at a longitudinal level of data, depending on how many data points they've entered throughout the school year. They can also see if they've entered any comments, and if they've kept any evidence locally, they would have that to refer to as well. So while you're analyzing the data, you might be asking you, what are the strengths that we're seeing in the data? What do our students still need to learn? So if you're looking at data from your 3-year-olds and your 4-year-olds, or any children that are getting ready to go to kindergarten, where might they need some additional assistance? What kind of support do the children or the teachers need? There might be gaps. You might see some N scores. If you see N scores in the learning progression, I recommend that you take a look at the actual skills, knowledges, and behaviors that are embedded within that learning progression to see whether there are any gaps in children demonstrating specific SKBs. And from there, we would recommend that you plan activities, modify the learning environment, and allow the children to the opportunity to practice SKBs that are appropriate for their age and ability level. These are just some considerations. If you have more ideas, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about this. Christina is our PD coordinator, so she spends a lot of time working with the state support team as the trainers. If you have needs for trainings or need some resources, we're happy to help with that.